What's going on, everybody? And this is our normal random podcast that we do every now and then. This is a special one because this is the Cardiacsumo episode of this like fucking fiasco. Why is it the Cardiacsumo episode? Because we've had some recent news in gaming that this man has not had a chance to actually gush to the public about. He's gushed to me. He's had conversations with me. He hasn't had conversations with all of you guys. So this is for him to let his shit out because he has two things that he's going to be very, 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 very excited about. So I think we're going to go to what I think would probably be the lesser of it first, and then go to the thing that's the most I think is the most important to him. The first, random topics. First of all, we didn't mention on the other podcast, one of the things on The Reason We're Born, which you guys should watch, a political podcast. We talk about all the craziness in the world, and we probably depress the fuck out of you, but we try to give you some hope, I think, maybe. Although in these days and times, can we give hope to people in these days? Is there hope?
You're not doing a good job of selling the idea that we.
I'm begging you, let me know that there's hope.
I love how that went from we try to give you guys hope to please give us hope.
I'm just saying. I mean, hey.
It's a depressing shift, sir. Somebody edit that part out.
Yeah, all right. But, one of the stories that I should have talked about, which would have brought more levity to the last episode, was you heard about the Ted Cruz fight with Ron Perlman, right?
I saw their very adult Twitter spat, yes.
So, for those who don't know, Ted Cruz got tweeted by, I guess, subtweeted or retweeted by Ron Perlman, who called him out for his bullshit because Ted Cruz is full of shit. And Ted Cruz decides to hit Ron Perlman back, trying to check his manhood by saying, like, I tell you what, since you think you're a tough guy, I'm going to get, what's the name of the senator? Damn, now I forgot. By the way, I've been drinking, so that's probably why I forgot. People. Tequila and pineapple juice.
He's not as well known as Cruz, to be fair. Doesn't got that super sick name value of being Trump's ass kisser. Well, he's an ass kisser too. But
yeah, I know. But it's funny because Matt Gaetz was in this thing. Yo, for real, Matt Gaetz, why is he always like getting shitted on? Well, I know why he's always getting shitted on, but I just need to know, like, how he doesn't realize that he's just gonna continually get shitted on. Like Jim Jordan, that's the name. Okay, so in this whole spat with, like, Ted Cruz, I guess, trying to defend Matt Gaetz, and who's a piece of shit, by the way. That guy is just horrible. You saw that video I sent you where the senator, like, pretty much cut him off from, like, doing the All Lives Matter bullshit. And then he gets mad and so like, I can't do it. You don't care. You said I don't care about my family. Like, oh my God, you fucking bitch. Anyway, Ted Cruz and Ron Perlman are going back and forth. And then Ted Cruz out of nowhere decides, hey, I tell you what, how about, since you think you're such a tough guy, that I challenge you to a fight with Jim Jordan, who used to be a wrestling coach in college. Fun fact, during his tenure as a wrestling coach, Jim Jordan was involved in a situation where he possibly was involved in people being abused and molested. So, not the person you probably want to have as your public representative in a fight. More importantly, why are you throwing this dude out as to be the guy to fight someone for you if you're trying to pick a fight?
The funny thing about that is he's gotten this reputation essentially for being a total bitch because Trump, I think, said his dad had committed a murder and called his wife ugly or something like that.
Yeah.
Never stood up to him, started kissing his, well, stood up to him briefly, I guess, but eventually fell in line, started kissing his ass like everybody else. And now he's talking all this shit on Twitter, which, is something adult men should be doing. That's totally not like a teenage girl thing to do. Not to be sexist, girls. So he's a grown ass man, a representative in this country, talking with an actor. And he's not even putting himself out as the one who should fight. He's just putting up some other dude on his behalf. Like, it's visually the most bitch thing I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it's just like, you have a younger brother, right?
Yeah.
It's just like he gets in an argument at school. It's like, I'm going to get my brother to come beat your ass. And you're like, what? Why am I in a fight? Like,
if you got the mouth to, challenge people to fights, that should be your fist in there, not mine. So.
Exactly. And it was just the funniest thing I ever saw. And he kept, like, compounding it because Ron Perl was like, no, but I'll fuck your ass up. And he's like, oh, so you're scared of Jim Jordan like that? Like, wait. He literally told you he's going to beat your ass, and your response is, oh, so that means you're scared of the guy that I need to, like, fight my own fights. No. That means that if you're trying to fight, you, like, pick a fight your own battles, bitch. I would never pick a fight with someone and be like, yo, I'm going to get... he might as well say, I'm going to get my mom to tell... I'm going to tell my mom on you.
I don't know what to make of it. It makes me curious how he keeps his job. I mean, we talk about how these positions are, elected by the people.
I think it's probably because he's a bitch, and like everybody who like around him knows he's a bitch and to do whatever the fuck they want. So they just punk his ass out for favors and shit. Like,
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's like just bend over, Ted, and shut up. He said yes. So,
You think his constituents would be the kind of people who, I don't want to say value a tough guy, but like you think his attitude to them would be more of a turnoff than to anybody else?
Right. Again, not to hold the stereotypes, but especially in fucking Texas, where it's supposed to be a state full of shit kicking, blue-blooded fucking like rough and tough motherfuckers who don't take no shit. Like, this dude takes all the shit and then some, and then brings shit on himself. So weird. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that before we're gonna let you go crazy. So we're gonna talk about video games for the most part. By the way, did you finish that EA thing?
Yeah.
If so, I'm sorry.
I might have missed the last couple of minutes or so, but
okay. So I'm sorry because I made you watch it because I figured maybe there'd be something worth watching. If you don't know what we're talking about, EA did their EA Play 2020 because there's no E3 this year, of course, because of COVID. So everybody's been trying to find different ways to introduce new content and to do these like big presentations that they normally would have done during E3. I think Ubisoft should be doing one in the next couple of days too. So, everybody's trying to, as much as possible, do the things that I guess people would normally like to see during this time of year. And EA did their EA Play, and it was blah. I did you even see anything that you were like, oh, that's cool, or I might want to check that out?
I intend to try out Star Wars Squadrons. I was lukewarm to it at first, but then they said it supports VR, which I've always been a big, proponent of. So I'm more hyped than I was the first time I heard about it.
I would think a flight simulator or flight game would be good. Like I don't think it's simulation, but yeah.
And you talked about interesting mechanics in the ship, like diverting more of your shields to the rear where you're getting shot and shit like that. So I'm hoping it has like a mechanically a nice level of detail to try it. I'm not a big flight sim guy, but I always loved in the old Battlefront games being able to hop into a fighter and just go out into space. They had those, I don't know what you call them, like stages, I guess, where you had two big ass ships that you'd fly out of them at each other.
Yeah.
And I remember that was like the thing I was most looking forward to from like a new Battlefront game, and it certainly wasn't the focus when they finally came back. I think you told me that eventually they added something like that, like they're having those dogfights, but to me it just was like another shooter for the most part. It didn't excite me that much.
Yeah, like the dogfights in Battlefront 1 and as Battlefront 2, basically you weren't going onto another ship to take it over or destroy it and then leave. It was just pretty much pure dogfight stuff. So. Which was cool because I liked the whole thing. I think it was something like 12 versus 12 TIE fighters or like Empire versus Rebel, and it was like pretty cool because there were a lot of things you could do with the X-wings and the TIE fighters and all that. Of course, the TIE fighters were better planes, so you had to kind of be really, at least it felt like they were better planes. So you had to be pretty much on point as an X-wing fighter, but you still could keep your own. So it was cool. It's very, very cool, at least to me. It was one of the few things that was decent in. Although it was pretty decent in the shooting, like the shooter aspect of Battlefront, because they let you pick between first and third person. So I would play third person, and it would work better for me.
Sure. And I'm definitely not, down talking their shooter aspect. It's just not what originally excited me about, when they mentioned it was coming back. I immediately thought about that mode where you fly into the enemy team ship and then try to take it over, because I just love that flight aspect. So, uh, and this might be a note for like all the conferences in general. Like these shooters are arena type shooters are kind of getting old to me. I don't even play them like that, and they're feeling pretty old. But
I think shooters, period. I mean, like if it's as someone who still plays like Battlefield, I think shooters as a genre aren't as strong as they were.
Perhaps I like to keep it focused on squadrons. I'm definitely more excited coming out of it. It was probably the main thing I looked at in the entire EA conference.
So you weren't looking forward to the Joseph Ferris game, which I have no idea what the fuck he was talking about.
I think that. Okay, let me ask you this: do you remember the game's name? Okay. The reason I asked
The
that,
Joseph Ferris game? I got no.
I felt like
Mind you, just for some context before you, sorry to cut you off, but just for some context, I think we just both watched this maybe about 30 minutes ago, so.
Sure.
Sad.
Well, I don't remember it either. And I remember thinking that after watching it. And my point in saying that was his personality is really fucking distracting. Like I barely paid attention to the game aspect at all. And I left just knowing it was him and his attitude and his vibe. And I feel like if you just put in like a more calm person, I might have paid more attention to the game. Like he's just like the first half of that video package was just about him being an asshole, I guess. Just like this weird posing, and like the time he said "fuck the Oscars," which fuck the Oscars, I agree, but like it was way more about him than it ought to have been. Like if I worked on that game and I saw him do that, I would be kind of irritated. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
As far as what I was able to glean about the game, I'd be interested to see some gameplay and whatnot. It seems like you.
What is that name? Now I need to look. I feel like I need to look it up because it was just me.
uh, conceptually, he mentioned there's this family, the mother, the father, and the daughter. The parents are splitting up. The daughter is kind of traumatized by this, so she makes a male and female doll. I guess they're supposed to represent her parents. The dolls come to life, and somehow you play while controlling these dolls and their emotions.
It Takes Two. Okay, that's what it was called. Or sure. Okay.
Fine title, but I think when you have a game where the concept isn't as clear like that, that is especially when it's important to show gameplay. Because it's nice to try and explain these concepts, like, oh, you're controlling their emotions impact the gameplay, and blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, you could probably show an example of that, and if you're not ready to show one, I don't think you're ready to show the game because I don't know what you're talking about. You're trying to
Yeah,
describe a pretty abstract thing here.
yeah. He's just he was all over the place. I don't know.
So it was half his energy, just half confusion. I wouldn't mind, once they have more to show, looking at it again, but he didn't sell me here.
No, definitely not. Of course, you got your FIFA, you got your Madden,
Sports ball.
you got Apex Legends, some crossplay, and I guess the biggest thing that came out of that whole thing was they're making Skate 4, which is probably the thing that I think you missed, since you said you missed the last couple of minutes, because literally they did this long drawn out speech. They had someone do some long drawn out speech about how like they appreciate or something. I don't know what she was saying. And then randomly she was like, "There's one last thing," and there were like two guys. It was like, "Yes, we're making Skate 4," and that was it. It was no trailer, no real fanfare. It's just like, oh, we're just excited to tell you that yes, after so long, we figured this is the right time to do it, so we're doing it. Skate 4 is going to be made, and it's like, okay,
I
that's
mean,
kind of a like for something that not me personally, but I know like looking at my timeline from a lot of other gamers, it's something that a lot of people have been begging and pleading for and hoping and dreaming for. It's with such a lackluster way to be like, yeah, we're gonna make the game that you really want. You're happy now.
I think that was the point because, back in the day when Tony Hawk Pro Skater series and eventually Skate came to rival that, Skate became super big. So I think the whole point of saying it like that is Skate has that sort of name value where you can just say it and it's kind of good enough and it'll get people hyped. I remember enjoying it a lot too. I'm not as passionate as many other people, but I do remember it being pretty hot and enjoying it myself. So I'm trying to think of what it. I guess it would be like when they announced Star Wars Battlefront. Like they didn't show us shit. They just like showed off some sound effects and then said Star Wars Battlefront, and everybody lost their shit. Like, especially in those cultures, like if it. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain because it wasn't big for me
either.
either.
Get a logo from them. At least did that. Like,
I thought it was overly cute by the sound of it, but I think it was to show the name value that they felt they could do that. I had heard that it was coming, even though I didn't watch that last video. I don't care anymore. Like I was one of those people who actually kind of asked for it for a little while because I did love playing those games back in the day, but it's just kind of been so long that I stopped caring.
yeah, I can understand that. And it's like me personally, like even though I'm not one of those people who is pining over it, I just feel like the way that they did it was kind of like dickish. Like, okay, you've been begging me, you've been asking me. Like, it reminds me of this like scene from the TV show Martin, where there was a big issue between them two because she was like, we've been together for so long, and maybe we should start. We should be settling down, and like, don't you want to get married and all that? And he was like reluctant to the issue. So eventually, at the end of the episode, he goes like, "Fine, you finally wore me down. You've been asking and you've been wanting this for so long. Gina, will you marry me? Damn, like That's how I feel like that whole thing was. Like them just reenacted that Martin scene where it's just like, okay, I give up. Here, you happy now?
uh, it is weird. That's where attitude. I also don't understand why developers wait that long with a lot of these titles. Like, I'm glad people are getting Skate, but where's my Midnight Club? I feel like I've waited
Oh
just as
my
long
god,
as you guys.
Rockstar, what the fuck are y'all doing? Like Midnight. It is funny because I hear people saying like, "Oh my god," like, to which I guess we'll be getting to now. The Sony thing where they showed the GTA 5 shit. People are like, what the fuck are you doing? Where's like GTA 6 and shit like that? Like, no, fuck a GTA 6. There's a couple of things on the table right now for Rockstar to put out, including like stuff like, they have other properties. They have other. I've heard people say they want another Bully. I've heard people say that maybe you should reboot the Manhunt series. But the biggest thing has always been fucking Midnight Club. Why isn't there a Midnight fucking Club? Like, out of all the shitty racing games that we get, speaking of EA, all the fucked up bullshit fucking Need for Speed games that's come out over the last decade. Like, I think you've had one decent Need for Speed game in the last 10, 15 years. Midnight Club, this is the game that everybody like agrees was the last like great racing game. And I'm not throwing shade towards Forza, but arcade speaking wise, I should say.
Yeah, fuck Forza.
Like arcade wise, Midnight Club was the shit for everybody.
I remember saying, way back then when I was a kid, I was like, after I played, because I actually did used to play other racing games. I played a fair amount of Need for Speeds. I actually had a NASCAR game even. Like, I was playing a bunch of them. And then NASCAR had games, at least back then.
I know. It's just I never thought about buying a NASCAR game. Maybe I can now that they've gotten rid of the Confederate flag. They let Bubba Wallace drive in an all Black Lives Matter car, and he's, I guess, now the face. Like, the only black driver is now the face of NASCAR all of a sudden.
Well, I'm sure the other drivers love to beat him. So, I had a fair passion for racing games back then, but after I played Midnight Club, like, I just stopped caring about all the other racing. Like, what was it called? There was like another racing game back then that like really emphasized like blowing up the other cars and shit. Like, it used to be a pretty big thing, and now I just see Forza and Need for Speed every year, and I'm like, these suck, and they're not interesting. And if people like them, that's great, but it would be nice to be able to get, after 15, 20 years, another Midnight Club.
It came out on PS2, right?
There's no way it came on the PS3. I don't think
No,
so.
I think it did come out as 360 at least.
Midnight Club was a LA edition, dub edition or something.
I think the LA edition came out on like 360, but I don't know.
So Midnight Club 3 dub edition came out in 2050 or 2005. So it's been 15 years.
Jesus Christ! Yeah.
All right. So.
No. No, come on.
Yeah, and it was on the PlayStation 2. I was right. So like, it didn't even come out on the last 2 generations of consoles.
Oh yeah, no, it wasn't even on the 360. Damn. Right, PlayStation Portable, PlayStation 2, and Xbox. Jesus Christ. The fuck is wrong with you?
So and not to get too off topic, but I'll see people like, oh man, they're bringing back a remaster of Final Fantasy 7 or whatever, and they're bringing back this and that, and there was like, we've waited years. I'm like, bruh, have you? I've waited 15, and I still don't even have an announcement.
If I recall correctly, they remastered Final Fantasy 7 like years ago. It wasn't like, like the one they have out now where they just totally reinvented the whole thing. But yeah, no, they put polished on that game and they put it on PC and put it on other platforms plenty of times. And Midnight Club, meanwhile.
Respect to the Skate people, I think it's been about 10 years since theirs, but like,
But you could play Final Fantasy VII on other platforms. Is the thing. You can't play even like original Midnight Club anywhere.
Unless you still have a PS2 around.
Right. Or an Xbox.
Or an emulator, I guess.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, I get salty every time I see a Forza trailer pop up because like it's just predictable that it's gonna fucking be there every conference. It's like, bruh, why do y'all keep doing this? Like, is it that shitty? Like, what is the update here? And I know they're usually like a good example of like graphic fidelity and all that shit on the consoles, but fuck them.
Yeah, nah.
Dude, Betty.
Yeah, there should be another Midnight Club.
See, that's the kind of person I am. I take everybody's love for skate and I use it.
I mean, we're even getting like a fucking like. Did you hear they're putting out a rhythm game for Kingdom Hearts?
No.
Not only that, it's a rhythm game, but it's a rhythm game that's going to be integrated into the universe and the story. Like, y'all can do some dumb shit like that, but you can't do like I'm not. And yes, I know Square Enix makes this, not Rockstar, but dumb shit like that can be done. Why can't there be a Midnight Club?
Yeah. I'm just saying, pretty much everybody else gets what they want, but me. That's all I'm saying.
They just put Persona 4 out on PC, sir. That game is a PS2 game. It's been put out on PC. Can't get no Midnight Club though. All right.
I'm surprised. I'm not surprised, but it's interesting that like GTA 5 is still like profitable enough for them to care this much. Like, yeah, we're gonna give you a bunch of in-game money and like.
It must be serious tools when it comes to that. Like, I remember saying to you about how like there's a big cosplay community, I guess, or something like that for the game, but at the same time, it's like this game, that game is like fucking 7 years old, yo. That shit came out originally on the PS3 and Xbox 360 in 2013.
I enjoyed it, but like, I enjoyed it for a while. Like, I'm not, shitting on people. Like, it is nice to see that a community actually stays somewhat solvent, I guess, because a lot of multiplayer games, it's probably the reason I don't play multiplayer as much anymore. The communities, the game releases, it's super hot for like a month or so, and then in a lot of games you can't even find a match after a couple months. So I stopped really kind of investing in multiplayer games because I know people aren't going to stay around.
But there's some, like, I don't know. It's weird how some get a continuing.
Sure, like I play Final Fantasy 14, like that is a healthy player base all the time, but also because they're very consistently like giving updates and like new patches and bringing new content.
Yeah.
But all you skate assholes, congratulations. I'll see if I feel like reigniting my passion for skating games.
Yo, if it's shit, that's gonna be hilarious. People are gonna lose their mind. But okay, so that's the lesser of the two evils. The more important thing is PlayStation had their.
Before we hop off, I do want to shout out like Lost in Random. I thought it was that game with like the little girl and she had like a die for a companion. I thought the art style looked kind of cute. I'm curious to see how.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the name.
It's called Lost in Random.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought the art style was cool. Didn't see too much like gameplay of it, but I'm curious to see how that companion plays in. So that's another thing I'm slightly keeping my eye on, I guess. But yeah, just the last one, like these.
Not the game of choice. Okay, I got it.
These goofy arena shoot, because they also announced one called Rocket Arena, and I was like, that title alone is like the perfect way to phrase my problem with like the direction a lot of these games are going. Because you got Apex, you got this. I wouldn't put Destiny in that category really, but like, you always see all these like shooter games where everybody's like dancing around and like with these goofy things, like in Apex, dude's like holding up a trophy. Like it feels like a lot of these shooters are getting really fucking goofy. I'm sure people are like, who gives a fuck? You got your Call of Duty and your Battlefield. But I'm like,
and Fortnite.
Fortnite is like this. I feel like a lot of them are taking on the same kind of flavor and kind of converging on this like obnoxious 12-year-old style.
Yeah, no.
Gonna sneak in that last shit.
I mean, beyond just me sucking at these games, I just don't have the time to invest all that time in something that I don't know.
That was my last thing I want to say. Just kind of praise Lost in Random, which, leading it, I guess is a good segue to the Sony thing, because it was one of the few games EA had that showed off like a variety of art styles.
Right.
And Sony had like a shit ton of variety in their conference.
No, there really wasn't. That shit was a waste of 50 minutes.
I mean, if you like their shit, like if you're excited about Sims, it was probably amazing.
And I found it. I'm not trying to be too super sensitive in this, but I did find it a little bit pandering that they actually evolved the Sims promotion around the whole Black Lives Matter situation, where they basically had a bunch of like people of color and mainly Black people talk about their experiences and how they dealt with them and all that, and how video games help them deal with these things. And like, but playing Sims let me lead the life that I like want to lead. Like, oh my God, really? I'm not saying that's not true for people, but
sure,
I just found it just like, oh my God, y'all really just.
I had two, I don't know if I want to say questions or concerns about it, but one, like I do understand that people, use that sort of stuff for an escape. And, to be fair, some people's lives are really fucking hard. If you're a transgender person growing up around people who don't accept that, it's a really fucking hard card to be dealt, especially if you're a child who can't like be financially independent and get away from that. But sometimes I hear other gamers talk about needing that escape, and I'm like, you probably shouldn't be like that obsessed with trying to escape from real life, especially if you're older. Like, maybe try to make some moves toward making real life a little better. I think a lot of us take it for granted that so many people think it's just normal that you should be trying to escape from real life that often. So I'm not a psychologist, but I would be curious what a psychologist has to say when people say stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the second point is like, while I appreciate, them showcasing that variety of people, I didn't really understand how it was leading into anything about the game other than I saw like
nothing to do with the game other than, hey, you can create yourself and live a happy life, I guess.
And they flashed a few things like a male character with makeup and all this shit. I'm like, that's good. I kind of assumed you could already do that, but I've never played The Sims. Like, I wasn't expecting to see anything functionally different.
So I'm not sure if you could. That's a good question.
Like maybe they've added to their character customization stuff to allow for a better diversity of people, and so that's great. I just always assumed you could, but I'd never played the games. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, EA sucks. All right, so at the time of this recording, as I speak right now, it's 11:58 p.m. In approximately 2 minutes, you get to go nuts, dude. Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
Preloaded? Did you?
Yeah, I just looked over at the timer. I was like, 2 minutes. Oh, yeah, you're right. There's the countdown. 56 seconds.
2 minutes. I told you this is your episode, so you can gush. 2 minutes. You get to be a psychopath. How are you feeling?
It especially with the state the world is in, America in particular, with the pandemic, with the tension around racial issues. I remember like, because I wasn't like that excited or really thinking about the PS4 conference until you mentioned it like a couple days before, and I kind of like, left a little alarm on my watch to make sure I tried to just sit down and watch it. I just thought like, man, these motherfuckers they're trying to save 2020 over here. They're just like killing us, especially when you still got Last of Us ready to drop. For people who are still excited, Ghost of Tsushima. I know Cyberpunk 2077 got delayed a bit, but there's still plenty of stuff to play, guys. It's, how should I put this? I've always been a gamer, right? But there's been certain like few year periods where like I'll watch E3 or whatever conferences are going on, and I'm just like, yeah, nothing's exciting me. Like you just gotta like your passion kind of wanes for gaming. And I felt the last couple of weeks that it really like come back with a vengeance. Uh, Past couple of months, especially with COVID and all this stuff, since I'm locked inside all the time, I've been playing a few more games. I played through Red Dead Redemption 2, Near Automata.
Near
Near.
Automata, I know. It's an asshole. I know.
uh, a couple longer titles, but even now, the last few weeks, I've been kind of ramping up and playing a few, not all shorter things, but just like playing more often. So I played Star Wars Jedi, played through Uncharted, almost played through that Last of Us. I don't know if it was like a DLC or something, but
Oh, I thought you would have already did Left Behind.
I hadn't, and I thought about squeezing it in, but I had to do my actual fucking job. So
I hear it's not that long, is it?
I don't think so, which is why I was thinking about it. But like, you know, working from home is kind of weird. Like there'll be times where I crank out a shit ton of code, and then like yesterday I spent all day trying to figure out how to like fix the layout of a fucking button on an Android app. So I'm not always super productive every single day. But yeah, it's been quite the resurgence for my love of gaming, and I think Sony's not just the titles I care about, but just the variety of titles and art styles and things I'd never heard before, newer IPs, all being announced and showcased at the same time, like really just struck a chord like a lightning bolt. I'm just like looking through the PlayStation store and seeing like what other shit I can play in the intervals.
Well, you don't have much time now. Are you going to be comfortable? Well, actually, it's 12:02, so you can go nuts now. If you need to leave, leave. Are
No,
you
it's
prepared for the violence, though? Because that's been a huge controversy. In particular, the Polygon article has sparked a huge debate over like the use of violence in this game and what it means.
I guess I'll see after I play it, but I I've just felt like that's kind of always been a debate in video games, and sure, maybe this one is even more egregious than previous games or something. I again can't judge it since I haven't seen it yet.
I mean, you got dogs coming at you. Come on, dude.
Like, I don't know. Like you watch all these gruesome movies. A lot of the video games have always been pretty violent. I'm not that worried about it at the moment. I mean, hell, I what was it, a couple years or so ago when they first announced the game and you had that trailer going off. Everybody was talking shit about how violent that trailer was, and I was like, yeah, it's pretty rough. But I didn't lose my mind about it. If it was too violent, then don't play, right? Like, plus, maybe it's more violent than the previous one, but the previous one was not like, Teletubbies or some shit. So if you have a problem with violence, you shouldn't be fucking playing this in the first place.
Right? Yeah. I guess the deal breaker maybe for a lot of people is dogs. Maybe I don't know. I gotta say, I'm not happy with the idea that you got to be out here murdering dogs. But in the context of the realm, it makes sense.
Sure. I don't know if there's something more controversial. Maybe there's some sort of sexual violence or something. I don't know, but
Well, I know people were upset that they hinted at Ellie being a lesbian and all that, and blah 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 blah.
was it a hint? Isn't she like definitely a lesbian?
Well, certain forces probably don't like to admit that shit. So
I mean, I just kind of assumed, but I guess to be fair, like she was a child in the first one, so her sexuality didn't matter. And I kind of heard people mention it some time later, and you see the commercial. I'm like, all right, I guess I kind of confirmed it.
yeah, people need to get over that shit. It's 2022. I mean, 2020 shit. It feels like 2022. There's so much stuff going on in this world, but it's like, get over that. Female protagonists can be just as fun. God.
I was actually a friend of mine just started the first Horizon Zero Dawn, and he kind of made that same comment because he's never played like that many games with female protagonists, and he just kind of commented on, like, it's a weird, different experience to be a female in these worlds where like dudes will like say some weird sexual shit and come on to you.
All right.
I remember saying the same thing when I played a Tomb Raider. Like the first one, there's just a scene where like you're like fist fighting a dude and he has to have you up against the wall and he says some weird sexual shit. I'm like, wow, I'm gonna stab this dude in the throat. And then that's how I learned that all women just want to do is stab men in the throat.
Probably should with some of the shenanigans we go about doing.
I think, excuse me, we should embrace that more. Like, it is nice to play from not just somebody else's perspective, but it does have like at least minor effects on how other characters in the world address you and talk to you and act around you. Definitely good for variety.
True.
Especially because I just played Uncharted Lost Legacy on Sir Magus's suggestion, and shit, what's her name? Chloe. I believe she's an Indian person who grew up in Australia or something.
Oh no, she's Indian and British. So I think her mom's from India and her father's from England.
I think it was the other way around. I almost willing to bet it was Australia, but I can't remember. But in any case, it was interesting because you spend a lot of the game like somewhere in India.
No, the reason I say that is because it's kind of reflected of the real life person who plays the voice.
What do you mean?
The lady who plays Chloe's voice, she's Indian, British.
Well, I guess it doesn't matter too much to the point, but yep, Chloe is of Indian ancestry on her father's side, and she was brought up in Australia.
Okay.
But either way, like playing as someone of her ethnicity, I believe the game must take place like India or somewhere based on all the cultural stuff. Actually, yeah, definitely it does because it has a lot of that shit in it. So one, getting to see a different culture. Two, kind of getting to experience it through this person who, ethnically has ties to that culture and history and knows about it, but does seem somewhat detached in comparison to other people because she didn't grow up there. Which maybe I relate to a little bit too, because like I, born American, like I experienced some of my parents' Jamaican culture, but I'm still fairly detached from it in comparison to them and maybe other people my age in the family.
All right.
So I think that should be celebrated. Like I don't think it's as painful as you guys seem to imagine it might be. I think it'd be more fun than you guys are giving it credit for.
The internet, they stubborn as hell. So with the Sony State of Gaming thing, what stood out the most to you, other than the obvious?
I'll start with Ratchet and Clank because I'm not as huge a fan of the series as everyone else, but I've always kind of, loved the little goofiness of it. But one, it was nice to see another one coming out. And two, I know the last one was pretty graphically strong, but like, holy shit, that thing like looked crisp as hell. I think you were the one who
buy it just to look at it, like, yeah. Like whenever the PlayStation 5 comes out, I feel like that's a game that you buy just to be like, anybody comes over and like, is this shit worth it? And then you just pop that game in and be like, you tell me.
Definitely I think you were the one who told me to rewatch the trailers on my 4K TV.
Yeah.
Which apparently I'm still not used to having because I never think to do that myself. But I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, then to your point, you almost just want to buy it just to look at it. It's nice to see something that's, more stylized as far as like the character models, while also going for like extreme detail, extreme power in the effects. I specifically remember one room, and I guess this is because they have ray tracing enabled now. You're looking at the floor, you can see like the full reflections of everybody fucking moving. It's I don't know how many shooters utilize ray tracing, but I can certainly imagine like seeing people's reflections and shit like that and think like, that advanced technology is going to have an interesting impact on game development moving forward.
Yeah.
So I'm weirdly hyped for that. A couple of titles that I didn't know much about, but have caught my eye. I'm curious what Stray is. It's that game where I don't know what
Got
happened
a
to the
robot cat or whatever that thing was.
yeah, like you're a cat and it's like a world of robots. I just kind of joked that this must be the world after the cats got all pissy, stabbed up all the humans, and then realized they still needed somebody to clean their shit, so they built robots. um, so I'm curious about that. I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it was Kenna Bridge of Spirits. It was sort of in the vein of like what I was saying about Ratchet and Clank, like really vibrant but a nice kind of cutesy art style that I was intrigued by. Uh, might check out Godfall just to see like how that weapons mastery system works. Little Devil Inside looked pretty cute. Some of these, especially like over my gaming lifetime, I've always just kind of gravitated toward the more hyper realistic AAA things. But over the last few years, especially like looking at Twitch and see what other people play, I've tried to expand out from that a bit more because there's like little independent stuff that are super cool. Different art styles you never think of. There's more variety out there than
Bug snacks.
Bugsnax. That so like say your bro like your friend eats a bug that's like an onion ring or something, and his arm turns into an onion ring. Like, is that cannibalism if you bite his arm, or
It's a good
is that
question. How bad does he like onion?
like I just saw that on one of the characters? I just thought, bro, that's a big ass onion ring, and I like onion rings. So what are we gonna do here? A couple of creepy ones. I can't remember what it was called. It was that one where you're like an astronaut walking down the street and like
Pragmata.
yeah, I was surprised that it's not a. Oh my god, what's that dude's name? That
Kojima.
yeah, see, like I was surprised that it wasn't one of his things because
Sad that I knew that's where you were going. That's the damn. Shows you how weird this motherfucker is.
just I see people excited for that, and I'm like, I'm confused about any excitement for that the same way I'm confused about the excitement for Kojima games. Like it's weird looking. It's fucking like you were an
vision, man. You don't see the vision.
You're an astronaut walking down the street, and then all of a sudden there's this little girl, and then all of a sudden you're on the moon. It's like, what are we fucking doing here? Don't know any idea what the story is. The gameplay is like, and I get that appeals to some people, but I don't really agree with just being fucking weird somehow being a good selling point. I get that that's eye catching, but that's not a description of a game or something to pull somebody in other than just being visually odd.
There's another weird game. One where the guy like you're living out your dreams and they got to do your dreams. I forget the name of that game. That looked interesting, but I wouldn't say it would stand out for me. The Square Enix game. What is it? Project Alethea.
I think it's Athea.
Athea. Yeah, that looks cool.
They're creepy.
Of course, Horizon and all that. But now, sir, the floor is yours. Spider-Man Morales.
I think.
Did you cry tears of joy? First of all,
more shock, like because it was like the first thing they dropped, and you kind of see the hand. I happened to be somebody's stream while they were watching the thing instead. And somebody just said, "Oh, Spider-Man," and I'm like, "Y'all don't pay enough attention. Like, look at the costume; it's clearly Morales." And I was like, "They're going all in with this motherfucker," because I just kind of assumed based on the last game, whatever we get next is going to be about Peter essentially, and some sort of like soft transition into Miles. But he's the star of the fucking show. His haircut though, like, and I saw other people bring this up, but like, yeah, it is weirdly rare that you see like a black person with a hairstyle you would expect in a video game. They just kind of like lazily put on a fro, or sometimes not even that. Sometimes
authentic because Miles would have grown his hair out for all that time.
I mean, that's how we looked in the first game. That's fair. Like, some black people do have hair like that. It's not crazy. It's just like he had a full fade and everything. Like, it felt like somebody actually cared enough to look at like how a modern black person does their hair.
It's funny because that's a comment I heard like a lot of people say during the PlayStation thing. It's like a lot of the non-white characters they showed seem to have more detail and make more sense as to how they look as opposed to just putting some brown paint over a white skin.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it because you look at a lot of hairstyles, even for like if you have a black character, they just look weird because like they're just these ugly standard straight hairs. You know, if I follow somebody on Twitter that's a 3D artist, I guess, and she had done this piece like a couple months ago where the girl had dreads and stuff. And I remember I messaged her because we had just been chatting at one point. I was like, you know, I really appreciate that piece. Especially somebody like, you know, starting growing out the locks themselves. Like, it's good to see, you know, some variety in the artwork because you don't see that a lot. And I had mentioned every once in a while I like practice drawing and try to teach myself a bit. And I was trying to draw this because I like to write and I had this like character idea in mind. So it was like this girl with like long dreadlocks, like way before I even grew these out. So it wasn't based on me or anything like that. But I was like looking up tutorials and like references. I'm like, man, there is actually not a lot on drawing, you know, more ethnic curly hair like that. Even if you watch videos of like how to draw any hairstyle, like, you know, white hairstyles. That's pretty much what that means. And it's not the shit on the people making those tutorials. I just think, one, especially if you are white, you're probably going to be more inclined to draw like that. But two, a lot of the characters you see in media are white, so that's just gonna. I think that just gonna gets baked into your brain as the standard of what you would draw, because you know as you study art, people get kind of influenced by the pool of art that they're swimming through. So yeah, it's good shit. I'm hyped as fuck about the gameplay. Uh, Hyped to see, you know, how the city reacts to Miles being Spider-Man, especially since in this world Spider-Man's been there for like 8 years. It's and you know what? Like, shout out to Marvel. I think I made this point with you, you know, a while back, but you look at how Marvel has been marketing its characters. It's very impressive how the younger ones in particular have been allowed to shine and be marketed. So you see Miles, I think he was first created by Bendis in like 2014 or so. We're only in 2020, about 6 years later, and you know he's been a central part in the comics in a few cases. He's been featured in that movie Into the Spider-Verse, and now he's getting like a headliner in like a major video game. Like, that's a pretty quick turnaround for a character that's only existed for so long. Same thing with Kamala Khan in the Avengers game. Now we just need Riri Williams, and we'll have like the trifecta. Whereas you compare to DC, a lot of their younger characters, people probably don't know anything about. So, like the Black Wallace West now, who knows about that kid? Probably don't know anything about the newest Robin. I think Marvel is very committed to, you know, pushing their younger characters forward, and I think it shows. And I think that'll help them power like a next generation of characters across media through movies, video games, obviously in their comic books. Yeah, I'm just hyped and impressed overall. See what happens if I bore all the people. Sir Magus. I literally killed him with boredom. It's crazy.
So, with Miles Morales now, you're buying the PlayStation 5, of course, at launch, right?
I wasn't going to, but after that showing, yeah, I will be.
So how much would you pay?
I mean, I could imagine like selling a cousin's organs or something.
Okay, that's not the right answer, sir. And the opinions of Cardiacsumo does not reflect the podcast. Good Lord. It's gonna fucking take Oregon.
Not a cousin, that's fairly removed from like the nuclear unit of a family.
Jesus.
That feels fair. Like, and we had a discussion before. I could imagine paying 6 to 7, which we've had this discussion. I think it's just because I've become so accustomed to paying a lot for other things.
Well, it's funny because you mentioned the cell phone market. It's just like I think certain markets just work differently because of their customer base and how they think. Like for some reason, iPhone enthusiasts feel like it's not a problem to like collect $1,000 or $1,200 and spend it all into a fucking phone. But gamers aren't like that. Gamers will spend all the money in the world, but if they felt like you're developing or you're offering something that either excludes them or is just shit, they just jump.
It is interesting because like even this graphics card must have been, when did I buy it? Like $600-700 itself, like alone. It was about the cost I'm willing to pay for that for the PS5, and I've said to several people I wouldn't be too shocked to pay 700, and like nobody agrees with me that would be even remotely reasonable. And most people think it should be about a couple $100 less, and I'm like, this phone, this the S10, it must have been 700-800 by itself. That graphics card 700-800. I have the Surface Pro, which was like 1,000. This watch is $300. Like other tech markets have gotten this. My HTC Vive headset was like $500 by itself. Like a lot of the tech markets have gotten us fairly comfortable with paying a lot of money for things. But to your point, like when you talked about it, I kind of saw your point. Like I don't know that gamers are gonna be okay with paying more than like 5.
I say 5, 6 may be the biggest rate. 6 would fly if you can do something like, well, 600 for the disc-based one, 400 or 450 or 500 for the one without a disc. Like I could see you trying to thirst trap people and be like, oh well, shit, this is the much cheaper brand and you get a lot more benefits. Let's go with it.
It's interesting because for some reason in my head the cost spread went the other way. I guess because I see having a disc as like a disc drive as like a more primitive thing. I would have tried to pay more to not have it and have a sleeker look.
It's funny because I was listening to a podcast and they were saying like people had been saying that they think Sony intentionally shaped it that way just to get you to go digital.
But you're correct. Like it is an extra feature. You would think it should cost more, and yet just instinctively, I assumed it would be the cheaper one because it's like having a car running on gas to electricity or something, or like this. I didn't build this with a disk drive. That would feel like a waste of space to me.
Yeah.
If you actually use disk drives, then it makes sense. But like,
well, it's officially. So you've downloaded it, right?
What? No, The Last of Us. Yeah.
So yeah, you just have everything preloaded. So as soon as you get off here, you'll probably be killing fucking clickers and others.
I might be addressing some code review stuff, but after
you
that,
actually do work, you nerd.
I've been doing a lot of work the last couple of days, mostly to not feel guilty about playing that. But I didn't. For those of you who don't code and stuff, typically when you make code changes, it has to go through a review process, but through other engineers to kind of help, make sure it's up to a certain standard, kind of limit bugs and all that shit, make sure it's being tested properly. And I have some review comments on mine that I need to address, some test update and shit like that. So it's just a fun cycle of being a developer. You don't just get to like put a bunch of bullshit together and like throw it out into the world.
Some companies feel that way.
Like if I was working on Facebook, I can't just sit.
The Last of Us 2. That's crazy.
What's up?
No, I just happened to glance over at my Twitch feed. Shout outs to Eurostrix. He's playing The Last of Us 2 right now. Shout out to Lady Infamous. She's playing The Last of Us 2 right now. Shout out to 3MG Live. He's playing it. Everybody's playing it. Everybody's playing it.
A couple of quick points on that. Especially since it's been the first time that I've like been excited to play a game at launch. Because even often I don't even do that. Like I typically wait till later. Waiting to play this thing and watching the countdown. The fact that other people around the world can play it first is kind of irritating. Because I follow somebody on YouTube and she's like already has like a 4-part video shit up of her gameplay. I'm like, bruh, how do you expect me to avoid spoilers when you're letting other people play? Like, there's like potential spoilers before I already own the game, and I could possibly get spoiled before I could even turn it on. Like, this shit is wild. Other than that, though, I saw a lot of people talk a lot of shit after the spoilers came out or whatever, and say like, I'm not gonna play it, sounds stupid, blah blah. And yet, to your point, like everybody seems to be playing it right now. So I am hopeful that somehow the game is amazing and it shuts them up, because like I saw like in Discord channels like several people mention that there were spoilers and say, I'm not gonna play it, didn't want to play it anyway, blah blah blah. So like I part of me is kind of vengeful and hoping that they get proven to be dumbasses. Because
none of that matters. Because Miles Morales is coming, right?
I mean, obviously. I just like to see haters get shut down every once in a while.
Yeah.
But I wonder what kind of costumes Miles will be able to wear. Will he be able to wear like all of Peter Parker's costumes?
Yeah, and that's why I kind of like pushed the whole Lost Legacy thing, because I really do believe that this is what it's going to be kind of the equivalent of. And I kind of started thinking about some other stuff that I don't think I talked to you about, but it was just like one of the things that would make it was going to make you know that this is much more of an expansive type thing, where it's going to be closer to a real full game, is that you're using a character that has a totally new, different power set to utilize. Whereas, like, I was thinking about other stuff that I mentioned, like, for the most part, Lost Legacy, you're doing the same things that Drake does. Infamous, First Light, you basically were playing the character that, if you've never played Second Son, sorry, spoilers, you played the character that the main character got one of his multiple powers from. So you know the mechanics of that if you've played that game before. It's not nothing new, except for people who are like completely never played any of the games that they're related to. So it's just like, it's funny because my first thought was like, what would be the weapon wheel for Miles? You know how Peter has like the different like spider like things that he can go to, the little robots that can crawl through things, or he has like the web bomb, and all of that stuff. Like, Miles does more than just slings webs. So,
I mean, get at his aspects to it, but you make a good point. Like, I think a lot of people just see Miles as like Black Peter Parker, don't even realize that he has different powers. And like, let me put it another way: he has more powers than Peter. Like, he has all of Peter's powers, but like 3 on top of that. So he has the typical Spidey sensitive reflexes. All that shit can stick to walls. He can also electrocute you by touch and like turn invisible. So it is a multiplier on his power set that I don't think most people realize when they see him.
Yeah. So they have to put work into this to make it actually a legit thing. So
it probably there was a couple of spots in like the first Spider-Man game where it was like a stealth kind of thing. I guess that goes out the window when you can turn invisible. I don't know.
There you go.
Maybe Miles is OP. That'll be the new complaint. Why is this black guy so strong? What the fuck? Game not even hard anymore.
I'm excited for it. I can't wait to get it.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's gonna be I'm gonna be getting it on PS4 or PS5, but I'm getting it.
I think it was a good move for them to show it first, because like I'm just like absentmindedly looking. First thing you see a Spider, I'm like, oh bro, this shit is gonna be like,
it's just like
pulled you right in.
That they kind of sandwiched it with Horizon, because Horizon was big thing. And then of course you got to the end where you got to see the console and all that.
I think the console is sexy, so. But
I'm
I don't
not
know.
particularly whelmed by it. I think my biggest issue, and I think I talked to you about this, is the way the disc version looked. It isn't as smooth, I guess you could say.
I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe the whole point was to get people to stop investing in discs.
Right. It's like, yo, this console looks ugly. Let's get the prettier one. Maybe. Who knows?
What I would get. I'm also very hyped for Horizon. Like, I kind of worried after I finished the first one that maybe they wouldn't do the sequel, even though they seem pretty set up to do a sequel. But, you see a lot of games out here that don't get that sequel, so I wasn't going to take it for granted.
Right.
Only way they could have done more is like show footage of the next God of War or something. I think my heart might have stopped.
Oh my god! You still got Gamescom. Yeah, they're still doing their virtual show, so who knows? You might get that. Yo, all they gotta do is just show that Thor ending again. I'll be on board.
I'm ready to go. Like, I'm looking at a list of some of the other shit they showed. Like, while I'm super hyped for Spider-Man, Horizon, a few of these other titles, I want to try out Ratchet and Clank. I want to see. Like, I've never played a Hitman game. Like, I'm kind of curious about that. A bunch of other shit that I want to keep my eye on too. So, it's gaming is one of the few bright spots in a dark world at the moment.
Yeah, it is. But you're about to experience it now because you're about to murder motherfucker.
Maybe I should wait until like the sun is up again.
You're not.
These games are stressful, bro.
You're not.
There's probably some like psycho out there who knows everybody's playing. They're just gonna like bang on windows, hoping to get a jump scare in.
Like they're gonna make that clicker noise just to fuck with you. Yo, that's to this day, that's still one of the most ridiculous horror noises I've ever heard.
Yeah, I hate it. I think a lot of sound design in games is pretty fucking rough, and that's definitely one of them. Yeah, one last shout out to Miles. Like, his suit is just cooler. Like, I mean, I like a lot of Peter's suits, but like even in the comics, I remember one panel where like Peter's looking at Miles and he's like, "Why is?" And he was thinking about Gwen Stacy's costume too, and he's like, "Why is everybody's costume cooler than mine? I'm the original Spider-Man. It's stupid." Yeah, if anybody wants to donate to the Get a Cardiac a PS5 fund, Christmas is coming up. Why am I on YouTube? I gotta get off.
Yeah.
People already.
Get off Twitch because I'm on Twitch now because I'm not gonna pretty much play The Last of Us 2 until like I man up and stop being a bitch. I can watch some of the stuff, and to be fair, it's again at the current time of me speaking, it's 12:33 a.m. So nobody's anywhere near anything compelling in the game. It's just
other people got to play it already, like in other parts of the world is what I meant. Like I saw somebody who's like on the YouTube channel, they're like part 4 in their fucking video of their gameplay already. And like
play through let's player people.
And each part is an hour, so she's like, bruh, Americans matter.
30 hours. But you know why she did it? Because our attention span, so.
Oh, I mean, sure, she did it for the same reason all the American people here are doing it right now. Because, well, in some cases, just views.
Yeah.
Gotta do everything for the views.
500, is my prediction. I think the high end is going to be 5, the low is going to be 450. And then y'all will find something else to complain about.
When do you think they announce the price? Because it's coming out this year, so like, they gotta tell us soon.
I think August because it's a nice in the middle number. Like not too hot, not too cold.
Give us just enough time to save up that Christmas money to buy ourselves a gift. That's gonna be kind of awkward. Like, all the family members expecting a present. Like, I'm buying myself $1,000 PS5, guys. But Merry Christmas. Right. Any other games got anybody hyped? Apparently not.
All right. Let me stop watching Last of Us. I have nightmares, and I am tired, and I am drunk. And you want to go play the game?
Yeah.
No, you're gonna play it now, aren't you?
What's today? Thursday?
Go ahead, click that button.
Hold on a sec. Like, do I have like meetings tomorrow? I could probably play it for like a few hours, but then I really do need to like knock out some of this code.
I just need to see your first reaction to like, getting murdered.
I'll probably stop after my first murder and be like, all right, that's enough on the heart. But all right, yeah, let's get into it.
I guess. So we're done with these shenanigans. Go check out The Reason We're Born. You need to stream. That's what you should do. Stream this game.
Me?
Yeah.
It's a little too late for that.
And crying.
Do you need some like special tools or something to plug into your console?
Your PlayStation. You didn't know that?
No, I thought you guys had like a thing that you like.
I mean, I use stuff because I'm a fucking extra hardcore nerd in this shit. But most people start their channels by just going to the Twitch, going to the shit. Fuck. Now they turn on a PlayStation to remember this thing, but it's a part of the share features. That's why they have that share button. The share button lets you start streaming through Twitch or YouTube. Well, I don't know if it does it through YouTube, but I remember when it first came out, it was like you could stream through either Twitch or Daily Motion, or there was another thing you stream.
These gaming companies have embraced you streamers way too goddamn much, giving you a special fucking button.
Log into your Twitch account, and then you hit the share button, and then you like broadcast. You hit broadcast. And boom.
That makes me upset because I hit the share button accidentally all the time, and now that I know who to blame for even having a share button, all you fucking assholes.
Not us. That's what Sony realized that hey, people like to stream, and it works pretty good. It's pretty good streaming.
All right, let's all go have nightmares. I really should have waited. They should have released this in the morning. I can't deal with this.
No. They want you to play now.
All right.
Let me see. Where is she at? Wow, she's a little further ahead than everybody else. If I'm just like rotating between the people that I know that are playing it right now.
All you tryhards, man. Like, I'm relaxed. It's not going anywhere, man. Like, I'm hyped, but like when I said I wanted to play it like on release, I wasn't waiting on like the literal second for it to be released.
Nope, that's what everybody's letting you do. I've only done that once. That was with the first Destiny, and I don't think I'll ever do it again. I did it the hard way too, because I actually went to a midnight release.
I think because I've never downloaded a game, especially like in this era. Yeah, I don't think I've ever pre-ordered a game. Come to think of it, so like that countdown that it did, I've never seen that before.
Yeah, no, I actually like live not too far from a GameStop, so oh gosh, this is wild. This is a bunch of while back because I remember I actually walked from the GameStop to home. That's how close it was, and did a like vlog and all that. And it was my first midnight launch, and it was the most lackluster thing in the world.
Did you play as soon as you got back?
Well, no, because this was a hard disk. Well, yeah, I did play as soon as I got back.
Oh, you're a better man than me. Like if I bought it at midnight and then had to go back, I wouldn't play it till the morning.
Like I remember I got it. I walked home. It was like a 10-minute walk home. I got on and I played like at least 6 or 7 hours before I stopped. I was like, yo, I need to go to bed.
I don't think
Like,
I'd manage that.
luckily, I didn't have to go to work the next day, but still, it was kind of jarring because it's like, gosh, I literally stayed up until about 5, 6 in the morning playing this damn game. And it's funny because the campaign was so short. If I would stayed up another couple of hours, I would have finished it.
You know how they keep saying we should make voting day a holiday, like nationwide. We should have like little, you know, ad hoc holidays for like big releases. Because I remember what like Infinity War, not Infinity War. What's the last Marvel one where they kill Thanos? Spoilers, sorry. um,
Endgame?
Endgame, right? Like when that came out, I was like, why do we have work, bro? Like you all, I literally, I said fuck work, and I went to the movies with like 6 coworkers. Like we just stopped working and went.
The whole company shut down because your whole department was like, fuck y'all.
My team, like all of us went, except for like one guy who didn't care, and then like a couple other people from other teams. It's like, and I think the managers kind of accepted that we were doing this because I was like, look, I remember saying it before we decided as a group, like I'm going this day, this time, I'm not working. Fire me. Like, so yeah, I think they need to watch out for the big pop culture moments and just like let us have it. So
I would hate that. That was just like, for the love of God, sir, just wait. But you don't have to wait because you're working from home, so fuck. It's all good. It's all good. I'm kind of disappointed in all these streams that I'm flipping through, by the way. Because no one's got to anything scary yet.
Maybe it's just a chill, happy game. Maybe there's no actual.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe they're just like maybe it's like so non-violent that the one time you punched a person was like really jarring. So like,
if only that were nice.
Oh fuck.
What?
I have a 4K TV. It's gonna be kind of a problem. Like, I don't want to see this shit in that much detail.
Well, to your credit, you only have a regular PS4, so you only get the boost mode enhancements. You won't get the full force.
Right, but remember, I was playing on like this big TV from like my college days.
So again, at least you're not gonna get a full force. I mean, I have a 50-inch Samsung, and I played part of God of War in full 4K. God damn it! Now, I can't imagine something like this where you probably see somebody's eyeball pop out and roll around or some shit like that.
Even on a shitty monitor, TV, television, or whatever, I found the first game really jarring. So I'm like, I'm sitting here like, all right, this was gonna freak me out, not even realizing it's gonna be like way more graphically intense for me because I could barely even see it on the first one. If you guys never see me again, it's because I had a heart attack. Sorry.
Hey, I mean, it's nice knowing you. Donate all your software and hardware to me.
This is being buried with me. It's way too much illegal material. I mean, secret file. Family photos.
It's kink shame porn or something.
I mean, sometimes you lose an internet connection. You need to have something, ready. Like, can't always stream.
No, I think we should leave before we get into any more trouble. So, look for Cardiacsumo's streaming debut.
We'll see.
I just would love for you to stream this only because I just want to see the reaction to the first major death, like crazy death. That's all. I have a like sadistic, like
Somebody once said, I think they wanted me to stream just in general, and because I had the HTC Vive headset. It's back home with my mom right now, but they said I should play a horror game and like set up a camera and stream that. And I was like, I'm not gonna stream myself falling face first into a fucking wall for you, like screaming like a bitch like this.
Don't worry, we'll work that out, people.
Right, gamers.
All right, let him go. It's almost
Simple.
8:00. He needs to go play his game. So, with that being said, hope you enjoyed us randomly talking about nothing. Kind of good to sometimes just talk about less heavy stuff for a change, especially in this world.
You, you think Katina will play?
Oh fuck no, she doesn't do horror at all.
You don't have to tell her it's horror, just
She reads, motherfucker. Okay, she fucking reads. She will read that shit and she'd be like, "Fuck you."
Just tell her it's a story about a young girl finding
It'd
her
be
way in
nice
the
to
world.
like have her like it would be nice like if you were physically in the room together and she could watch you play or something like that. That would be fun because like the reactions would be priceless. I can already imagine because there was some shit that fucked with her and okay, so there's like the shit that's fucking with me right now. God damn. What the fuck? All right. Like, and it's funny because it's not even a scary thing, but it's just like some bullshit. Or
He's already troubled.
and I'm mad because like she paused the game at this shit. Like I'm watching Lady hit from it. Oh my god. Okay, yeah, this is gonna be fun.
So all the cool gamer folk go follow Lady Infamous. Follow
Yes,
yours, Tricks.
please. Follow, like, I'm gonna have to put everybody's links in the description so you can follow them on their playthrough. More importantly, these are all like streamers of color that you should support. For real. This is some really dope people. Oh shit. Yeah, you're gonna have fun with this.
I don't like the way you said that. I mean, maybe I should wait.
Huh?
I don't like the way you said that.
It was an oh shit. It was a positive oh shit.
Okay.
And I'll just explain it to you like later if you want me to. But it was a positive.
All right.
Yeah. Nah. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Thank you again. As I keep trying to like sound this off, we keep doing bullshit. You guys take it easy. Have a good one. Be safe. You know, all that good stuff. We'll talk to you later, all right? Peace.